Imagine a man named Benjamin. At the beginning of every new year, Benjamin would tell himself that this year will be different. Ben would say, "This is the year I'm going to get in shape. This is the year I'm going to save more money. And I know I didn't do it last year, but this is the year that I'm going to learn that language that I always wanted to speak." Like clockwork, Benjamin would dive into the new year with enthusiasm, convinced that his goals were only a matter of commitment and grit. But as January rolled on, so did life. Work became hectic. His friends invited him out more and more. And little by little, his resolutions began to fade into the background. By February, the gym was a distant memory, and his language book had already begun to collect dust on the shelf. He felt disappointed, convinced that he had let himself down once again. The cycle continued year after year until one December, Benjamin decided something had to change. Instead of setting another list of to-dos, he decided to dig deeper into why his dreams and his goals keep slipping away. As Ben dug deeper, he made a decision. Instead of starting every year figuring out what he wanted to accomplish, he would start this year asking, "Who do I want to become?" As the year went on, when setbacks came, he saw them as reminders to adjust rather than failures. He began to rely less on the small bursts of motivation and more on the discipline of small, manageable actions. Actions that he could carry forward no matter the day or the season. With this new mindset, Ben's goals no longer felt like chores. They felt like a rebirthing of his very being. And for the first time ever, Ben carried his resolutions through the entire year and broke the cycle. He finally learned the lesson that lasting change wasn't tied to a date on a calendar, but to his commitment to grow every day, even in the smallest of ways. Did you know that research shows that only 9% of people keep their resolutions all year long? On the opposite end, a staggering 80% of people abandon their New Year's resolutions by midwinter. Even more astounding, nearly 23% of people quit their resolutions within the first week of the year. So what's up with that? What's going on here? A lot of it boils down to a misconception of what a resolution really is, combined with unrealistic expectations about how change takes place. Today, we are going to break down why resolutions fail and what it takes to turn a resolution into a lifestyle. One of the biggest reasons resolutions fail is they lack clarity and purpose. The only way to hit a target is to clearly know what the target is and what is the first step to hitting it. Have you ever made a goal like, this year, I want to exercise more? Or maybe you made a goal like, you know what, this year I'm going to save money. The problem with these goals, while well-intentioned, they set you up for failure because they lack specifics and a roadmap. Without a clear plan, a resolution is little more than wishful thinking. Timing also plays a role. The new year feels like the ideal moment for change, but it's just a date. It's not going to magically change your willpower. It's not going to magically give you more discipline. It's not going to magically change your circumstances. And as we begin to dive into this lesson, one of the first things I want you to get is the date is irrelevant. Your January 1st starts whenever you decide that enough is enough and I am going to make this change. Your January 1st could start today. Another thought is that one of the biggest reasons that resolutions fail revolves around the concept of motivation. Many rely on sheer motivation at the start of the year. They're riding that high. But motivation alone is not enough. Reason being, motivation is fleeting. And being that it's here today and gone tomorrow, motivation alone will never be enough to create lasting change in your life. The foundation of any lasting change is rooted in identity. Before you even decide what you want to do in life, figure out who you want to become in life. Shifting your focus from simply achieving a goal to embodying an identity brings a whole new level of motivation and commitment towards the goal. For example, instead of saying, I want to lose weight, the identity shift says, I am becoming a healthier person. Instead of saying, I want to save money, the identity shift says, I am someone who makes wise financial decisions. When we approach our resolutions with an identity-based mindset, our goals are no longer items on a to-do list. We are no longer defeated by time or the speed at which it's coming to us. And the reason is we are much more focused on becoming. We are much more focused on becoming the person who can do the thing that will get us the result that we want. Think about it. Our habits flow from our beliefs about ourselves. If you see yourself as someone who is disciplined and resilient, you'll naturally make decisions that reflect those qualities. Conversely, if you see yourself as someone who struggles with following through, that identity can sabotage your efforts before you even begin. Identity shapes our behavior in powerful ways. So I have to ask you, who do you want to be? The only limits are the ones that you are placing on yourself. Who do you want to be? The clearer we are about who we want to be, the more naturally our actions begin to align with that vision. Another thought about identity-based goals is identity-based goals tap into intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation is simply motivation that comes from within. Intrinsic motivation is speaking of the why. And identity-based goals are always attached to a strong why. Never walk towards a goal without thoroughly establishing the why. Because when that motivation begins to go away, that fleeting feeling begins to go away, you can lean on why you started in the first place. It is your why that gives you a push when you cannot push yourself. It is the why that says, hey, you got to get up. You got to get going. Remember your why. Remember the reason. When you have a strong why, you're not just checking boxes towards your goals, but you realize that moving towards this is reinforcing who I want to become. Intrinsic motivation, that drive that comes from within, is far more sustainable than that motivation that relies on rewards or pressure from others. When you begin to think, I am a person who values health, the desire to exercise and eat well no longer feels like a burden. It feels like empowerment. It feels like an expression of your core values. You're no longer doing things because you have to. You're doing things because it's a part of who you are. If we focus solely on doing, change can feel like an endless list of tasks. But if you can challenge yourself to shift your focus from doing to being, it then becomes a part of the fabric of who you are. The reason that every January is New Year, New Me, this is going to be my year, is because you have not made the identity shift. When identity is at the core, transformation is more likely to be lasting. These goals begin to rewire the way we think, the way we act, and even the way we feel. The power of identity lies in its ability to change how we see the world, how we approach challenges, and even how we interact with others. If you identify as someone who is committed to personal growth, setbacks and failures are no longer signs that you should give up. I want to challenge you to be rooted in an identity of resilience. Because when you're rooted in the identity of resilience, every challenge that life throws your way strengthens that resilience. And every small step you take forward, in spite of, confirms the kind of person that you believe yourself to be. So how do we turn resolutions into a lifestyle? I have 6 ways for you, but before I give you those 6 ways, we need to understand what a resolution is. When we make a resolution, we're making a commitment to either solve or improve something in our lives. Consider the word itself, resolution. Resolution means a firm decision to do or not do something. It's not a choice, it is a decision. And decision implies that it's settled, a firm determination. But for many, resolutions don't feel like commitments. They're closer to wishes. They don't feel like I've determined that no matter what happens, I'm going to accomplish this. They're more like, I'm going to start this and see where I end up. A wish is passive, but a resolution requires action and accountability. If there is no action, and if that action is not followed by accountability, whether that be yourself or your friend group or a mentor, you didn't make a resolution. You just wished that things would be different. And the sad thing about that is each time we fall short of our resolutions, each time we fail to keep our word to ourselves, because that's really what it is, we chip away at the trust that we have in our own abilities. Trust is crucial in every relationship. But do you know which relationship it is most crucial? The relationship that you have with you. So how do we make these resolutions stick? And remember, you don't have to wait until January 1st to do this. I challenge someone listening to me to start now. The first thing I encourage you to do is to define your identity. Remember, the heart of lasting change lies in seeing ourselves as the kind of person who naturally lives our goals we set. From this day forward, we are no longer framing our goals as something to do. We are framing it as something we are. Number 2, break it down. Big dreams are exciting, but they are also easy to lose sight of without actionable steps. Often large goals can feel intimidating because they require sustained effort over time. Breaking these goals down to small, manageable steps make them more achievable and help us experience quick wins that fuel our motivation. This approach builds momentum and confidence, both of which are needed for you to accomplish anything that you're wanting to accomplish. Number 3, commit to the long game. Don't be in such a hurry. Real transformation takes time, patience, and consistency. Many resolutions fail because we expect the change to come quickly. The long game approach acknowledges that setbacks and slow progress are normal parts of a growth journey. It encourages us to prioritize steady, incremental improvements over instant results. This leads to deeper, more sustainable transformation. I say it here every week. Growth is a journey, not a destination. By framing growth as a journey, we're more likely to give ourselves grace when things don't go perfectly. And believe me, they won't. Number 4, build discipline over motivation. As stated, motivation can be powerful, but it's unpredictable and it's often short-lived. Stop putting yourself at the mercy of fluctuating moods and circumstances. Focus on the discipline that is built through routines and habits. Discipline says yes when motivation says no. Discipline says yes on the days when you don't feel like it. Building discipline means creating consistent, structured habits that align with our goals. Over time, these habits become second nature, ultimately requiring less willpower and making it easier to stick to. Discipline is the muscle that sustains long-term efforts. Number 5, embrace accountability. Having others who know our goals and can encourage us is a powerful motivator. Accountability partners serve as a reminder that we are not alone. Growth is a team sport, and it is helpful to have a team that can offer encouragement and constructive criticism when necessary. Number 6, reframe and adjust. Setbacks are a part of any meaningful journey, but how we respond to them shapes our ultimate success. When you see an obstacle, it's not a reason to quit, it's a reason to adjust. Reframing allows us to adapt to changing circumstances without losing sight of our goals and why we started in the first place. Ultimately, resolutions should be more than temporary fixes. They should lead to lifestyle changes. When you create a lifestyle that aligns with your goals, those goals become a part of your daily life and not just once a year attempts. Every day becomes a step closer to the person you're becoming, and every effort compounds and builds on the last. So as you think about lasting change, think beyond January 1st. Consider how your goals align with who you want to be and the steps you can take to make them part of your everyday life. The date doesn't matter. Growth can happen at any time. It's waiting for you to decide to begin. You're not just setting a resolution. You are shaping a lifestyle. If you enjoyed this video, join our community. Hit subscribe and join the Mission Growth family. Always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you, and I'll see you on the next one.